Hey there guys, I know I said I was coming back like a month ago after I posted my I'm back after like 9 months. 2 days later, my youngest broke her collarbone. So I was just focusing on her. So this is also gonna be kind of echoey because like today's Q&A, which is about living with other people other than our family, this is where I could film today, and it's in Ari's bedroom, and she doesn't have like too much stuff in here. We didn't realize how big this room was until after Ryan's parents moved out. They are in their own house now. I'll talk about that later, but so she got this room, which is where they were, and it's a lot bigger than we thought it was. So it's kind of echoey, but yeah, we're gonna hop into it on Instagram. If you guys are like looking for updates of like what's going on, if I'm not posting on YouTube, or if you don't keep up on our Seed to Table channel, which is our channel about like building up our homestead, I'll have it linked down below. Just follow me on Instagram because I post Instagram stories there and things all the time. But I asked you guys for questions this morning to just kind of come back with like a life update. So if you guys didn't know, my husband's parents, my parents, and our family, so me, my husband, and our 3 kids, we're all living in this house that I'm in right now until we could build 2 other houses on the property. So one of those houses is now built. That is my husband's parents' house, and they moved in a couple weeks ago. And next up is our house. First question I'm gonna just get out of the way is, when is our house going to be built? When is it being started? Our grading is supposed to be done by the end of this month, and then our footers should be poured by or on or around May 15th. So less than a month, we should be actually like starting the build outside of the grading, which should be starting any day now. Very soon, but it's a 190-day build. It's about 6 months. So we should, fingers crossed, they're gonna try to have us in our house before the end of the year. So yeah, we've made it 6 months. We've got about 6 months more to go. Okay, so first question is going to be, do you have your own fridge? How do you keep vegan and non-vegan food separate? So my husband's parents and my parents are not vegan. We are, actually August will be 3 years, I think, which is kind of crazy to think about. But so yeah, we do have 2 fridges in the house, and the main fridge in the house, we keep most of like all of our stuff in, just because with kids, it's easier for us to have like the quick access to it. And then my parents, they keep their stuff in the garage fridge. And then they have 1 shelf, and they have like 2, like side caddies in the kitchen, the side door caddies, what do you call them? I don't know, where they keep like their condiments and stuff that they use a lot. So that's just kind of how we naturally did it. Even when Patrick and Teresa were here, it was the same way. So we had like juices and milk, plant or dairy or whatever up on the top shelf. That was kind of like a shared space. Then the 2 next shelves were ours. Then the bottom shelf was what our parents shared. And then the 2 produce drawers were ours. And then most of the side was ours too, and then there were a couple at the bottom that our parents shared. So something with our parents is they're best friends, and they also pretty much always cook together. They make meals together, so most of their food, especially while living together, was shared. So it made it easy for that. And then in the pantry, the pantry was huge actually here, which is very, very lucky. So we each had a large shelf. I mean, we're talking there's like a, I don't know, 5.5 foot wide, 5 foot wide maybe, closet, and very deep. And so each of us just had a shelf, and then the bottom was kind of surplus, which we kind of took over a little bit, but we have 3 kids, 2 adults, we have more people, so we needed more of the space. Yeah, we figured that out pretty early on, and my parents' bedroom is like off the garage, so they have a door in their bedroom to the garage, so it's really easy for them to just grab stuff that they need from their fridge too. Okay, next question had to do with babies. Are we going to adopt or have any more bio kids soon? So I've said before that we're done with kids biologically. Ryan got a vasectomy like a month after Ren was born, just because physically I can't handle another pregnancy with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and adoption has been on our hearts since before we even had our first child. So that is our plan. But we can't do anything or start that process in this house. We need to wait until we're in our own house and settled and kind of find our new groove, and then we'll start that process. And then usually you're looking like a year out before you would be placed with a child. So yeah, we gotta wait till we're in our own home to actually really start that. Okay, next question is, living on the farm with both sets of parents, was it what you expected, or is there challenges? Yes and yes. No one expected it to be like super easy. Obviously, we didn't think it would be a walk in the park. Anytime you're gonna put 6 adults in one household, you're going to have issues of some sort come up. The nice thing is that we're pretty good at communication, and we only had to really have one big talk, probably like a month in, And that was just because like we kind of noticed people were stressed out or expectations were there that the other person didn't know were there. And so we all sat down, we talked about what those expectations were. I don't know, we just more thoroughly discussed things, and that helps a lot. Otherwise, it's just like little things here or there. And for the grandparents, I think the hardest thing for them was not being used to being around little kids again. Obviously, Ryan and I, like for my parents, I was that little kid. For Ryan's parents, he was that little kid, and we're 28 years old. So it's been 20 plus years since they've had little kids in their house. So they kind of forgot how loud kids can be. And so for Ryan and I, we've learned to tune that out. Like we've learned to like let them run around upstairs and laugh really loud, and you know, they might scream out of excitement, and that's something that I've made big strides with in figuring out how to ignore, especially as a mother with PTSD. But it's something that our parents have not learned to tune out. And so it has been hard for the kids, I think. Honestly, I feel like it's been hardest for the kids out of everybody, and they don't even realize that probably, but mostly because they can't just be kids, and that's the hardest thing. We had at one point 3 adults working in the house from home, and so, you know, during the day they couldn't even laugh super loud because it would cause issues with somebody on a phone call with a client or whatever. And so for them, it's like it almost made them more rowdy because they couldn't just get out their normal kid energy during the day. And you know, we learned and kind of adjusted things, and in the winter, it was a lot harder because they couldn't go outside as much because it was cold or it was rainy. We had so much rain this winter. And towards the end of winter here, tensions were a little high because, you know, Ryan's parents' house kept getting pushed off because of all the rain, and the kids were getting rowdy because they couldn't go out to play. But the kids have done really well, and now that especially Ryan's parents are moved out, you know, my parents can go hang out with them over there, and then we just let the kids be kids. And then we have a rule with them too that like they don't have to be silent. They can play, they can laugh, they can do what they want to do. They're kids. But if they are like overly loud and they don't quiet down to an inside voice, if they can't, then they need to go outside. And that's just a rule. If you can't keep yourself at an inside level, then you need to go outside and play. You can go scream, do something outside. And they know that. And sometimes they're not always fond of that because they may have just been outside for 2 hours and now they come inside and they're screaming. And I'm like, you know, you need to quiet down, inside voice. If you don't quiet down, you're gonna have to go outside. And you know, it just is what it is as we're adjusting to this kind of weird transition period. And I think the biggest thing too is reminding ourselves that like it is a long-term vision. This is a long-term goal for what we all 3 of our families want, is to be able to be on this property together. And in order to make that work, we have to do it this way. So we have a year of a little bit of uncomfortability so that we can all have what we really want. Trying to focus on the long-term vision and the long-term goal makes all the difference. Communication, and trying to have realistic expectations. That's just kind of the way it is. It's never perfect. Sometimes people get in arguments, but it's never, ever have we gotten to a point where I'm like, I'm regretting this. We should have never done this. Like, never. We've never even gotten anywhere near that point. Living on a farm definitely, though, makes a big difference in being able to handle this many adults in a house. Because we have so much land, we can go on golf cart rides, we can go just run in the pasture. Our backyard, the backyard space for the kids that's like fenced in, is even a very good size. So it works. There's just certain periods of time, like winter when it's super rainy, that sometimes tensions get a little bit higher, but we have figured out how to flow together. There's just kind of hiccups here or there, and we just have to work through them. Okay, next question. Would love to hear more about how you keep toys minimal and rotate what you have. So everything pretty much that we have here toy-wise is out because we didn't bring all of our toys with us. We put them in storage. And so we have things like books that we're rotating, especially for Revelyn, who's reading chapter books. We have to rotate those out for her. Figuring out the toy situation now that the girls are older, Rev and Ari, has been hard. It's been one of the hardest things for me to figure out. I'm still trying to figure out like what that's going to look like in our house once, you know, we're moved into our space. I have kind of just watched and been more lenient with toys over the last several months, especially with this being such a big transition for them. I haven't tried to come in and like totally clear out stuff or whatever, because I'm just trying to be cognizant of like that this is a big change for them too, and I'm not about to come and like make more changes, you know? And my kids have definitely been more resistant to change now than they have been in past. So like even bringing up like, hey, do you want to get involved in like picking what we're going to keep or what we're going to donate or what we're going to do for rotation can cause meltdowns. And I honestly just think it all boils down right now to just situational aspects right now, and that it's just a higher stress situation for them. So, you know, if there's one thing that they can control at the moment, it's toys, and they hang on to them. And so I've kind of just been watching. So the biggest thing I've noticed is that they really love Playmobil now. And so that's kind of something I've allowed to build up a little bit, but we have recently figured out a way to kind of store it and switch them out. If you guys are interested in like seeing my Playmobil storage, I've shared it on my Instagram stories briefly, but if you want like an in-depth video, I can share that with you guys. Let me know. Where they're allowed to have it in their rooms, specifically because Rennie's young, so we don't leave it out in the main space. They each get to choose a set, and then we have them in the garage all organized, and then they come and they can choose which one they want and switch them out. So that's been like their main toy that they play with. And I've just handled it with toy rotation, like I mentioned. Otherwise, in their rooms, they each have a desk, Rev and Ari, with like art supplies to color and draw and stuff, because they really love doing that. And then they have books. That's pretty much it in their rooms. Then downstairs in the main play area, we have more of our open-ended stuff. So we have like building blocks, our Grimm's Rainbow, cars, Schleich animals, which Rev and Ari are 6 and 5 now, but they still play with those just as much, and they still like playing with them with Ren. So because they're open-ended, there's more possibilities with them, and even as Rev and Ari are getting older, they still really love playing with them, and then Rennie likes playing with them too, so it works out well. But that space I'm still figuring out. There's still more things than I would particularly prefer to have there, but again, I'm trying to be respectful of the fact that there's so little that they have control over right now, and there's just so much change for them over this year of living here. I've tried not to push too hard, so I just kind of try to grin and bear it. And like keeping things like looking aesthetically minimal, it ain't happening at the moment. It's just not. Especially in our bedroom, because literally everything that we need for this year that we're living here, it has to go in our room and in our closet. Thankfully, we have a pretty big closet, but we've just not been able to figure out a good organization. And honestly, part of it is just I haven't had the time to sit down and focus on it at all. Time is the biggest hurdle, I feel like, living with so many people and not having like your own spaces for the things that you have. Just finding the time to do things is very difficult. I literally have pretty much only Wednesdays to do stuff, and usually Wednesday I am just editing all day. And so I don't have time to organize on top of it. So I would love to figure out how to work that in more, but right now it's very difficult, and it's definitely starting to stress me out a bit. But I would like to take you guys along with like figuring out our organization. Now that we're 6 months in and Ryan's parents have moved out, I do feel like I can like focus a little more on that. I just have to figure out how to find the time to do it. We feel like we need even less. Like we have 2 rolling carts in the garage with our stuff on it. Barely any of that we've touched, and I think a lot of it is summer stuff, so we'll probably use a lot of it coming up soon. But there's other stuff that I'm like, we need to go through this because I don't even know why it's here. And then in my mind I'm like, and I have a 10 by 10 storage that I don't even know what's in it. I know there's a lot of furniture, but I feel like there's other stuff too that I'm like, I haven't missed anything. I haven't sent like anyone to storage to go get anything at the moment. So in my head, I'm just like, what is in there? I'm nervous and I'm scared for the day that we bring that to our house. Because in my mind, I'm just like, I can't comprehend what the heck I filled a 10 by 10 space with. Granted, some of that is actually my mom's stuff too, for like what would be up here once we move out. But yeah, my brain can't compute at the moment what the heck is in that storage. And I kind of like don't even want to let it come in the house. Like I'm going to check each box as it gets unloaded and say like, no, we're getting rid of that, or we bring it in. I do plan to bring you guys along with like the process of all that and obviously organizing the new house, but that's still 6 months away. But I would like to get on figuring out our organization living here. Even if we are only here for 6 more months, I need to figure out something because it's not currently working out the greatest, and we can definitely get rid of some things that we have here too. To add on to that though, have you been able to keep a minimalistic lifestyle on the farm? Yes and no. I'm gonna be careful how I say this because I know my mother watches these videos. I love my mother and my mother-in-law dearly, but they love shopping and they love buying things for their grandkids, which I love. I love that they love to shower them with things, and I also appreciate that when they do buy things, they are very purposeful with how they buy them. It's never are they buying something that like my kids just would never use, never. And they are purposeful with how they think about things. But for me and Ryan, like we're even more minimal than that. And so sometimes there's clothes, extra clothes coming in the house, or toys that sure are like a great idea, but also not necessarily a need. And so it can be hard to navigate that sometimes. Although they are buying things that I don't necessarily see as a need for us, it is still stuff that my kids will use. It is still stuff that like they're keeping in mind, like my parenting style and my kids like clothing styles and what they like. They're very thoughtful and purposeful with the things that they do get. Just from Ryan and I's perspective, it's difficult, but we'll make it through. Okay, next question. 9 people under one roof would mean a lot of dishes. Yes, you would be correct. Anyone on dish duty, or is it a shared task? So the way that we've always done it is you take care of your own dishes. Unless it's like a shared meal, then sometimes one person will end up like cleaning a lot of or the bulk of the dishes. But in terms of like day-to-day dishes, you clean your own dish, you rinse your own dish, you put your dish in the dishwasher. It's not anyone else's job to do it. Sometimes people do it just because they're nice if someone couldn't get to it right away, but you know, otherwise you clean and rinse your own dish. If it's something that won't fit in the dishwasher, you completely clean it and you put it in the drying rack. And then for meals, if we are doing separate meals, then we would clean our own dishes, obviously. Like when Teresa and Patrick lived here, Teresa would always empty the dishwasher in the morning. Now that they're moved out, Tim, my stepdad, always empties the dishwasher in the morning. I don't think we have really figured out who is to empty the drying rack. Usually just eventually someone does it, or things just get used out of it until there's nothing left. So maybe we should get on that. And then like laundry and stuff, no one asked about that, but people might be wondering. When it was all of us living here, we would send a text in the morning to just be like, I need to do laundry. And it worked, it was fine. But since Patrick and Teresa moved out, I feel like we've had more stress with laundry machines. And so finally I was like, y'all, this is not working with the text. We need to just choose what days we're doing, and that's what we're sticking to. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my parents do laundry. Saturday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we do laundry, and then Sunday we do all the dish towels and the dog stuff. And so that's the rule we are now following. I don't know how we made it 6 weeks with just 6 months with just texting in the morning. Like one of us would say, I need to do laundry, and then basically you claimed it first, so you got it. We should have just done designated days from the beginning, but we do laundry 3 days a week. Especially now living on the farm, we do laundry a lot more. It used to be once a week, now it's 3 days a week easily, just because of all the dirt and sand and things that end up all over kids' clothes all the time. All right, let's go with a fun one. What's your favorite part about living on the farm? Honestly, just having the land. I love going on golf cart rides and just looking out and seeing the mountains. I think once we get horses, that will probably be one of my favorite parts. We're looking at that at the end of summer now. We have some more stuff we still need to do, and we need to reseed some areas in the pastures. So we need to do that first. We should have gotten on that already, but we haven't yet. We did get the 16-foot gates that we needed for the pasture, so we've got those out of the way. We need to finish up expanding the stalls, and then we need to seed some areas on the pastures and let those grow and kind of establish over the summer. And then at the end of the summer, we'll be looking at getting horses, which of course is kind of timing because we're going into like rainy season with horses. Whether I get horses the beginning of summer or end of summer, I'm going to have horses forever from then on in this winter and the fall, so I might as well just get used to it. So, okay, do you keep the older girls' clothing in storage for Ren, or as a minimalist, do you give it away and then just buy new, I assume is what they're asking. The only reason Ren had a lot of new clothes in the beginning is because we lost the bulk of our clothes to some mold issues because we had a water leak in our basement before we moved to North Carolina. And then the other clothes that were still in good condition, I gave away to a friend who was having a baby because we thought we were done with kids. So I only had some of the older clothes for the girls. So now Ren's starting to wear some of their clothes. But yeah, basically what I do is when Rev and Ari are moving on to a new wardrobe or a new size, I will capsule it right then and there. So because Rev and Ari are obviously 2 kids, Ren's only 1. Rev and Ari were the same size. So I just will sit there with the whole capsule from like that winter and fall or whatever, and I will pick and dwindle down just enough for Rensley, and then I'll just donate the rest and then pack up the other. So we have a bin in our closet here of those clothes, and we haven't run out of room yet. We'll see where we are in 6 months. But yeah, I always keep them just because it makes most sense to. If it's in good condition and she can get good use out of it, then yeah, I'm going to keep it just because otherwise it just feels a bit wasteful. Okay, and then the last question, there's actually 2 of them that kind of go hand in hand. This one says, just tell us simply, how are you? I'm sure that entire community wishes you the best. Thank you. And then another one that said, has life on the farm improved or caused challenges mental health wise? I'm gonna say both. To that question of like whether it's improved mental health or caused challenges. So as for like how I like genuinely am, I'm doing okay. I am very happy here and I love being here, and I can definitely like focus on the end goal and see that like this is what we want. When I look at my kids and seeing them being raised on the farm, that is what I want and I love it. But it has been very difficult for me mental health wise living with so many people. There's just no true downtime, especially as a mom with PTSD. There's some days where I just need to be a lazy mom, and I feel like I can't do that here without getting judged, which is not to say anything against like my parents or my husband's parents. It's just more like the need. I mean, you as a mother know when you're around other people, like you feel like you have to be on it like all the time because you don't want like people judging you. Whereas like when you're by yourself with your kids, like you have a little bit more grace with yourself, and you're kind of like, you know what, I need a chill day today. I feel like I can't do that here, especially not like even just organizing and cleaning is hard for me when other people are around. Like, not to say that like I'm not cleaning. Obviously I am cleaning, I'm doing that stuff because like I said, you feel like you can't calm, like just chill. You have to be on top of stuff. But the whole like taking it to the next level of like really cleaning and really organizing stuff, the times that our parents have been out of the house since Ryan's parents moved out have been the times that like Ryan and I are like, all right, like we got the motivation to like really clean and do some stuff. It's like that motivation to like go the extra step with organizing and kind of just getting things back in order goes away when other people are here for us, or at least for me. I don't know how to explain. It's kind of hard to explain why. I miss having just a quiet house, or the fact that like I'm forced to focus. And I think this is probably one of the hardest parts for me is, like I said, that even with my PTSD, I've learned to kind of drown out the kids when they get really loud. But because I have to be on top of them with their noise level all the time, I can't drown it out. So I have to constantly be paying attention to their noise levels. So I'm constantly being overstimulated with their noise levels. And that's probably the hardest part for me, because when they start getting really loud, I get stressed out because I haven't been able to just tune them out, because I have to pay attention to it all the time to make sure that they're not getting so loud that it's interrupting my mom working or something, or that it's not like stressing out, you know, just grandparents in general, because they're not used to that noise level. And so that's, I think, the hardest thing for me. But still, like overall, like living here, I love it. I do feel like I have stress gained weight because, and also we've been eating more processed, which is not helping my mental health at all. I think mostly it's just like overstimulation for me, and not getting like true downtime. And I have gotten better. In the beginning, I felt like every night I had to be down there like playing games with people and like being interacting with everyone after dinner, where I've, you know, kind of put my foot down with that and been like, nope, kids are in bed, I'm going to my room, I'm gonna take time to myself and just like have some Zen moments. And that's definitely made a difference. But another thing too is, and I don't think it has anything necessarily to do with moving here, is lately I have this like sense of I need to figure out who I am. And I don't know how to explain that, because obviously I'm a mother and a wife and I love doing that. But I feel like I stopped trying to be like me, like be me outside of mom or me outside of a wife. And I have this like urgency to like figure out what the heck I want to do with my life. I love raising my kids and I love homeschooling them. And that's definitely a big part of what I want my life to be. But I also have other dreams and ambitions. You know, I've wanted to do stuff with singing and I didn't know what, but I think I finally figured out that like my calling with that is definitely with worship team, and I would love to be able to like write music with our worship team one day, and be able to like actually like be heavily involved with like music stuff that way, not just going on a Sunday and singing only. And then like I'm really getting into herbalism, which I think I might have mentioned briefly. So I'm going to be starting to go to school for clinical herbalism. So I'm doing that. But then another part of me is like, oh, I really would love to share like more specific in-depth like organization videos with you guys. I think too that part of it with minimalism, and I've actually watched this happen with a lot of minimalist YouTubers, is eventually they run out of content and they feel like they can't do anything because they're worried someone will be like, well, that's not minimalist because you bought this organization tool and you just had this organization tool. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, but like, why can't I just share multiple organization methods and then donate those to someone or give them to someone that could use them? But I would be able, because one organization method may not be the perfect option for one minimalist, where if I come up with another organization method, that might be the perfect option for somebody. But if I had only ever done that first one, they would have never seen the one that would work for them. And so I guess I would like for my channel, this channel, to kind of go more towards organization and giving people multiple options. And although it might look like I'm using a lot of different products, there's only going to be one specific that would be working for our family, and the other ones I'm donating to other people that can use them. But I'm hopefully like coming up with other ideas for people, because minimalism looks so different to everybody. And like maybe even being able to help other people around me organize and like use organizing their stuff as content to help you guys. I don't know. There's so much I want to do and I don't know where to focus, and I feel like I feel like I'm not making much sense, one. But I don't know if you guys have heard the term, the jack of all trades, master of none. I feel like that quote has been ingrained in my brain from like my teen years. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, you need to pick just one thing to focus on. You need to pick music to focus on. You need to pick clinical herbalism to focus on. You need to pick YouTube to focus on. Like, you need to choose one of those three, or otherwise you'll just be a jack of all trades and you'll never master anything. And that's what I keep telling myself. And so I've been in this like standstill of like, I need to pick what I want to do. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to pick one. I like all of them. I want to do all of them. And so I'm trying to tell myself, and my husband told me too, is like, but why? You don't need to only pick one. I want to let go of that stupid phrase that so many people say, like, you can't be a jack of all trades because you'll be a master of none. Like, no, you can master more than one thing. Or you can just be really good at three things. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a master at it. You know what I mean? You're constantly always learning. You're always going to get better at things. So the idea that like someone could ever truly be a master of something, I don't even know if that's true. I kind of feel like that's just trying to pigeonhole people. I don't know. So yeah, right now I'm in this like nearing 30, figuring out like who I want to be outside of mom and wife, and feeling this pressure to focus on one, but I don't want to. I don't want to focus on one thing, but I don't have the time to focus on all three things either. So it's like, I don't know. Right now I think I'm just like in a phase of I don't know, but I'm trying to figure it out. So, I mean, you guys can just follow along as I figure out what the heck I'm doing. So that's fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. I feel like it was super all over the place. Hopefully you guys had a tea or a coffee to drink. But I enjoyed getting to chat with you guys again. I miss this channel. I need to figure out what the heck I want to do with this channel. Maybe it'll just be me just trying to share all of the random things that I'm trying to focus on and figure out who the heck I want to be as a human. All I know is I want to get better in many areas, and I want to sing more. I want to organize more. I want to study clinical herbalism, and I want to share them all. I don't want to feel like I only have to focus on one. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you guys have any more questions, you can leave them down below, and if I get enough of them, I will do another Q&A in the near future. If I didn't get to your question, I'm sorry. I was super chatty in this. It's gonna be a long edit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this though, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.